Now, I've talked to Nir about time. I think time boxing is the general term, right? Like time blocking and time boxing, and I get a little bit confused at what people are trying to do with that much of the time. But he said something that made it all make sense to me, because depending upon the task, I think like giving yourself 5 minutes to do something and doing it, that can work for certain tasks. But the way that I remember saying that he thinks about time boxing, that really resonated with me, is that it is not, you're not giving yourself 5 minutes to complete this task. You're giving yourself 5 minutes to work on this task. And it's not going to be completed during that time, which made me think of something that I've arrived at independently, which is the minimum creative dose, which is that there's all this research to support this, and everybody's experienced this, but maybe we don't use it as intentionally as we could, is that incubation helps move creative projects forward. Is that the time that you spend away from working on any sort of creative problem, whether it's writing something or even planning a trip or thinking of a difficult decision, the time you spend away is actually quite productive. But you have to at least give yourself an initial introduction to the problem space before that sort of subconscious incubation can take over. All sorts of things happen, different ways that our minds are moving these things forward, whether it is memory consolidation or forgetting the bad idea, something called fixation forgetting, or actually maybe even subconsciously thinking about the problem and coming up with ideas. But in order for that to happen, it really helps to at least spend some amount of time trying to work on this issue. So what essentially becomes time boxing is what I call the minimum creative dose, which is basically to set a timer for 2 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever. Here's a sand timer. This one lasts 2 minutes, and take that time to jot down in your phone some ideas about this project. It could be this time as you're waiting for your friend to show up at the restaurant, and you're purposefully not trying to finish anything. You are just getting your mind turning about that, because you often find before you work on the thing, you think like, oh, it's going to be pretty easy, whatever. But then as you start thinking about it, you think, well, wait, I haven't thought about that contingency, or, would it be better to do it that way or that way? Or, what am I actually really trying to accomplish here? And then boom, okay, that's enough time. Purposefully stepping away from it, or being interrupted by your friend who finally showed up to the restaurant. Now your mind is working on it. We have in our culture this idea of when you have a difficult problem, sleep on it. But how often do we really use that intentionally? That's how you can do that with the minimum creative dose. Another way of thinking of it is, I guess, the way that Nir thinks of time boxing, which is not that you gave yourself 5 minutes to complete this task. It's you've given yourself 5 minutes to do this thing that otherwise would take so long that you might not even bother beginning on it. Like, I think of one of those, another way of thinking of it is like Zoom. Like, I love that I have a free Zoom plan because all my meetings get cut off at 40 minutes. Like, if I just have a call with somebody, because I'll keep talking until I'm blue in the face and it's been 2 hours, and then I'll get away from it, being like, oh my gosh, I went my whole afternoon. And then I might even not like the person that I just talked to because it went on for so long or whatever. But when it's 40 minutes, it cuts off automatically, and I want to keep talking, but once it's cut off, I think, well, okay, well, that was actually really quite productive and pleasant, and I'm looking forward to the next time I speak to that person. I see. I think part of it can be just really helpful it can inspire action to know that you're only going to spend 5 minutes on this thing.